Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I'm your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with Dan Graebel talking about sustainability on the first Thursday of Hunger Action Month. September's Hunger Action Month, and this year we are dedicating every Thursday in September to Move for Hunger and Hunger Action Month. And we're going to be talking a lot about it. We're going to be raising money, we're going to be playing games, we're going to be educating ourselves, thinking about how we can do better. And today is going to be the kickoff of that. So I'm really excited to be here with you all. Get in the comments. I want to know who you are, where you are. Check in with us here. Dan, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, blessed and honored to be here. I went through my whole closet trying to find something orange that's professional looking. I saw Move for Hunger. It said this week, the first week of September, show your support by wearing orange. And I think all I had was a Broncos jersey, so I'll have to wait till Sunday to put that one on.
Yeah. Let's go Broncos. Football's coming back tonight. It starts actually. And if you're a Broncos fan, that means you are not rooting for the Chiefs tonight, huh?
Mm-mm.
No, big rivalry there. Olivia Barami says, hello, Ben and Dan from Canada. Looking forward to the conversation. What's up,
Hi,
Olivia?
Olivia.
Look at this. The Bay Area's checking in. What's going on? Awesome. So, Dan, are you in Denver right now in
Yep.
Colorado?
Yeah, I live just on the west side of downtown Denver in a house that's about 103 years old. And
Wow.
so I sit in our basement. We have a single story with a basement, and our basement stays about 10 degrees cooler than our upstairs. So the AC will be on upstairs, and I'm shivering in my hoodie down here. One of my favorites is my Move to Fight Hunger hoodie from the first year we did the challenge.
Tell us about the challenge that you did. I'm always
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated to see how companies are engaging around this, and I think by sharing these kind of stories and what we've all done, yeah, I think it inspires people to give them some ideas. And before you get into that, Dan, I want to hear the story, but I'm gonna ask everybody what engagement activities have you done at your company? Have you participated in a truck pull before? Have you participated in a food drive? Like, have you canned the CEO? I mean, what have you done to get involved? I'm always curious to hear this. Dan, what have you guys done?
Yeah, we've been in partnership with Move for Hunger now about 7 years, and during the pandemic, we were looking for ways to engage our workforce. In the bowels of the pandemic in 2021, we came up with the idea with Move for Hunger after seeing a company do a similar event. That sounds like a great way to get people involved, see what they're doing outside of work. Get to see a picture of me not sitting here at this screen and
Yeah.
it's just been a great success. It's kind of the highlight event of our CSR sustainability events throughout the year. And I think, what is it, over 350,000 meals from the previous events. And we're looking to set a record this year. Our goal is to beat 100,000 meals or more.
Wow, that's a great goal. Tell us a little bit about we got Ben Ivory checking in here. That's awesome. Love to see Ben Ivory here. Um, Lucy checking in from London town. It's great here. Get in the comments. I want to know how you guys are engaging. Jillian Guzda, what's up, Jill? Farrell's a Niner fan. Boo. I think we can all agree on
Ooh.
that, right? Yeah, nobody likes the Niners. Just kidding. Shout out to Daisy on my team. She's a converted Niner fan. But tell us what is Move to Fight Hunger, Dan?
It's a virtual activity challenge with a fundraising aspect to it.
So like the
The
more I walk, the more money I raise, or can I pay to just sit down? Like how does it work, Dan?
Yeah, so it's $10 to enter the event, and we open it up to all Graebel employees and our supply chain. And then there's various tiers to show your support. So I went all in for the $100 option this year. We get digital medals and certificates, a pair of branded Move for Hunger and Graebel socks, a great athletic T-shirt, all branded with the Move to Fight Hunger challenge on it. And as I mentioned earlier, this year we brought back the hoodie, and so I hope everybody likes the swag items this year. if you do, you can thank me. If you don't, we have a
Blame
committee.
Adam. Blame Adam if you don't like it. Yeah. What color is the hoodie?
This year we went with the gray, I believe, and a navy kind of outline for the
Okay.
text.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've got a gray one with just plain white text. So I'm
Hmm.
always I'm always collecting Move for Hunger swag. Farrell says, yeah, I almost died at the last truck pull. Harder than I thought, but so worth it, and doing it again in San Francisco. Hey, shout out to the Bay Area truck pull. Y'all kill it every. I mean, literally. Well, nobody's died yet, but you know what I'm saying. Y'all crush it. Well, no, that's bad too because get run over. But no, I mean like y'all raise a lot of money and a lot of awareness and have a lot of fun. I'll say that. So shout out to everybody that's doing it. I heard Nathan Brinker just became the beer sponsor out there, which is fitting. So
Woohoo.
so yeah, glad everybody's getting involved. It's a really fun time at the USS Hornet. If you haven't booked your ticket out there, book it. It's a lot of fun. It's usually a beautiful day. There's usually a strong breeze coming out. There's a taco truck. Everybody goes out for cocktails afterwards. So it's a really good time. Great corporate participation. I think the Rivian team, participated last year. We had the police come out, and actually pull a truck, which was great. Dan, but you know who always wins the truck pull, Dan?
Who's that?
The movers. The
Move.
movers always win the truck pull. I don't care. You could have the CrossFit gym come out. You could have all these, runners come out. The EMS with EMTs. I mean, the movers always win the truck pull, and that's
It's
just
kind of
very
like
special
that
time.
cowboy strength. You look at a
Yeah,
cowboy and they don't look jacked like ripping their shirt, but when it comes to running through, the grass, up hills, up mountains, that's just something about cowboy strength. I'd say movers have that sort of
yes,
cowboy strength.
100%. So I had a move. I was doing my own personal move last week, and all these guys are like skinny. They're all skinny dudes, and they just hump it up these stairs. Like I'm just running upstairs, running down, going out to the truck, running in with like 3 boxes on their back, running up the stairs. I mean, they're just pumping. So, shout out to the movers. Love the
Yeah,
movers.
definitely. Ben, I'd like to ask you. I know you're heavily involved with Move for Hunger, and what kind of drew you to them, and what's been some of the more rewarding aspects you've seen from that?
Yeah. Thanks for asking the question. I love to share my story, and most people don't even think to ask. So thanks, Dan, for asking. Uh, I think honestly, being in the moving industry for kind of my whole career, it was really cool to find a charity that was, of us, and by us, right? So shout out to Adam Lowy and Lowy Moving and Storage. I think. I think that I've been food insecure at points in my life. Not often as you can tell, but there was moments where I didn't know where my next meal was going to come from, like in college and stuff, and so that hits home for me, I think. And then I think the really fun ways that Move for Hunger creates to engage, right? Whether it's truck pulls, and in Detroit, we hosted a couple of truck pulls that were just massive, that were record breaking truck pulls at the time. I think Tanya had the record in Portland for a long time, and then the Detroit truck pull came along and smashed it. And the key to really smashing, I'm gonna give y'all the secret. If y'all want to know, you want to know the key, Dan, to really smashing a truck
What's that?
pull? The key is to get corporate folks involved and get them on your fundraising committee. Because when a corporate person calls you and is like, "Hey, I'm supporting this Detroit truck pull," and maybe they work at a big automotive company or something like that, and especially if they're going to bid soon, it's like all of a sudden the wallets start opening and people start sponsoring stuff, and all of a sudden you got a $2,000 beer truck sponsor, and you got a $5,000 title sponsor, and like that kind of stuff adds up. So I think one year we might have got it up to $40,000 raised at the Detroit truck pull. And that is one secret. And the second thing I discovered, I just kind of stumbled upon, we actually hooked up with the radio station in Detroit through iHeartRadio. They run a lot of different radio stations,
Yep.
and we got I think it was the hip hop station to come out with a couple other like personalities, and they said, "Oh, have you talked to Kroger? Because Kroger's a major radio sponsor of ours, and they have a Zero Hunger, Zero Waste initiative, and they would probably really enjoy this." And I'm like, "No, I haven't, but I'd love an introduction." And so they introduced me to the lady from Kroger that manages like the Midwest region. So she's got a massive budget for stuff, and I think they did maybe 5 or 10K the first year. I think they did 5K, and then they showed up with a surprise 5,000 at the event. And then the next year I think they did 10 or 15. Like so they came and helped us in chunks too. So I'd say it's really important to have a very strong, diverse committee of constituents. Fundraising, and one thing Adam taught me through the years is it's not fundraising, it's friend raising. So that personal ask is really important.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool. And I just find it awesome how Move for Hunger came to be. It's kind of a niche thing you wouldn't notice necessarily unless you've been on a lot of moves a lot of times and seeing, how many boxes go to waste. And what are they up to now? 44 million pounds of food saved and 40 million people fed since they started. It's amazing.
It's a crazy number. She actually sent some stats over today. Taylor did. I should probably read these like a good host here, right? Let's see. Where's the stats? I know she told me on this show alone for Hunger Action Month over the last 4 years, we've raised $112,500 on Love and Relo.
Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. That was like honestly one of the coolest things I've ever done. Yeah, I mean, that was really special. So yes, yeah, 50 over 50 million pounds of food donated, 41 million meals, to your point. That's an insane amount.
Yeah. And in a relatively short time frame too. I think I saw kind of the timeline of their efforts and how it's just starting to grow exponentially. And I think they're aiming for like 30 million pounds just this year.
Well, they've really hooked up with some really cool produce and logistics folks, right? Because that's always one of the hard parts. Hey, what's up, Richard in London? Good to see you there, Richard. One of the hard parts, I'm going to get to your question, Richard. It's a great question. Get your questions into the comments, y'all. Let us know how you're engaging with Move for Hunger and the things that you're doing from a sustainability standpoint at your company. And if you have any questions, put them in there. We're going to answer all your questions. But Dan, to your point, one of the things I think that really helped them go from 5 million pounds, 8 million pounds, I mean, which are great numbers, right? Is hooking up with these folks that have massive amounts of produce, and then hooking up with these logistics providers who can get it there in a timely fashion. Because we're all used to donating canned goods and non-perishables, which is great, cereal, soup, rice, etc., right? Peanut butter. But people need fresh fruits and vegetables as well. And that becomes like a cold chain issue, and it becomes a time issue and a timing issue. And so they've been able to kind of, I think, fix that in the last couple of years. And that, I think, is really getting the numbers up as well. Let's see here. Richard says, how long has Move for Hunger been running? It's a good little trivia question. Dan, do you know?
2007. I think we did a trivia challenge with in a webinar recently, and I think it was one of the questions. I think 2007. Final answer.
I think you're close, but I think you might need to phone a friend. Taylor, tell me if I'm right. So it's the 15th year anniversary this year. So now my math would say maybe 2009. Can somebody fact check that for me, Taylor, and watching? Let us know. Taylor says, keep that impact going this year at moveforhunger.org/love. So Dan, this is really cool. So this is how people get involved through the show this year, is we actually created a website just for Love and Relo, where people can go in and donate to moveforhunger.org/love. And that's where we've been able to raise $112,500 in years past. This year, Dan, we got to set a goal. What do you think our goal should be? I haven't set one.
40,000 plus.
40 is the kind of number like in my mind. So our high was 41.
Okay.
That was 2 years ago. It was a good year for Relo 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember. It was really good.
I mean, I love setting ambitious goals, but also like realistic goals, kind of that whole SMART acronym for goal setting.
Yeah.
You know, if 41 is the number you want to beat, then go for 42. But if 40 is what you think you'll realistically get with advocating and support, I think you can't, I don't think you can go wrong with either.
So let's set a goal here on the show, y'all. So everybody in the comments, get in here. We're going to crowdsource this, okay? So just to give you some context, in 2020, we did 25,000. It was COVID year.
Your first year doing it, right?
First year doing it. First year doing Love and Relo. First year doing Hunger Action Month. September 2020, we raised 25,000. We were giving away cool swag like this. We had the Love and Relo Move for Hunger co-branded tumblers. Well, that might have been year 2. We had T-shirts. We had socks. 2021, we did 26,800. 2022, we did 41,100.
Ooh, big jump there.
Big jump. Yeah, big jump. Some people really showed up, showed out. It was also a really good year for our industry, right? So I mean, there was some money, right? 2023, challenging. 2023 was challenging. Last year was a tough year in our industry, as you probably remember.
Yeah.
19,600. That was tough.
Well, I think the positive thing is, volumes seem like they're starting to rebound again this year. And so it'd be wonderful to double up on last year, but we'll see what the crowdsourcing says.
Yeah, get in the comments here. What should be our fundraising goal this year? Put it in the comments here. Let us know. Tandra checking in from Decatur. What's up, Tandra? What should be our goal? Taylor, 2009, she says. Okay, cool. Taylor, what's our goal this year? Richard has a question. Does Move for Hunger knock on doors or rattle donation tins at football matches? By football, he means soccer, or mainly via events? How do y'all collect food, Dan?
We do it in-house a little bit. We're very much a virtual workforce right now. So the Denver and Wausau office, we get a little bit of people going in, and we've done some canned food drives. One thing that was really fun this year, kind of gearing up towards the Move to Fight Hunger Challenge in September, was we did a Shark Week food drive. It's just
Tell people what that is.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say I came up with the idea, but we saw Move for Hunger sponsoring the post of another company that did it, and it was actually brought up from within one of our CSR committees we have. We have a CSR committee for each office, and then we also have a remote CSR committee for how we can get folks involved that aren't necessarily tied to an office. We've seen a big shift with people deciding to move elsewhere, not near an office, and so the Shark Week idea came from that remote CSR committee, and we had a great fundraising from that event, and it's pretty cool. You learn a lot about hunger scarcity and the reason to donate. And something new to me, I didn't know canned tuna was one of the highest requested food items because of its long shelf life and protein content. So
yep.
That's what's really been unique about Move for Hunger. It's not only supporting a good cause, but educating yourself and understanding that, within the U.S. here, we don't really view hunger scarcity. I'd say the general person doesn't understand. I think 1 in 5 children are food insecure in the U.S.
Yeah, depending on where you're at. Yeah, I mean, it's surprisingly high. It's crazy. It's criminal.
Mm-hmm. And I've been blessed to be able to travel. When I was little, I'd get brought along to the Omni and Feedy conferences. And so I got to travel a fair bit. And it's just very interesting and kind of saddening to know that the problems abroad we face here at home as well. And I think it's not only our duty, but our responsibility to try and combat that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when we think about, sometimes the embarrassment of riches that we have in the U.S., and the fact that there's kids out there that don't know where their next meal is coming from and then are hungry, and maybe the only meal that they get is that free lunch at school.
Hmm.
And then what happens when summer rolls around and there's
Summer
no snow?
hunger.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's like it's pretty sad, it's pretty scary, but we can do something about it, and that's what I love about what you're doing, what Grabel's doing is that you're leveraging your position of influence in our industry and encouraging people to do good.
Hmm.
Um, on a side note, we're going to get to the comments. Get in the comments and let us know what your thoughts are here. We're still looking for goal suggestions out here and everything. Um, but I wanna say, I've always been inspired by your dad, and everything that he stands for, and truth, love, and integrity, right? And I just love it. And so he's always inspired me to lead kind of with my heart and do what's right. So anyway, I just want to share that with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are three incredible words individually, but put together, can make magic happen. And it almost feels like I have them tattooed on the inside of my eyeballs. We have a lot of sayings within Grable and slogans and whatnot, and it's just amazing how they've been able to last the test of time. Coming up on our 75th anniversary,
Wow,
and a lot of the sayings that my grandfather came up with way back in the day are still, core values to us and have stood the test of time.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Get in the comments here, Richard. To answer your question about how Move for Hunger raises, collects food. So it started as something moving companies would do, right? So when you move, you have food that can't be transported or you don't want to transport for whatever reason, especially if you're going international, you can't transport. And so they would start by collecting the food and bringing it to the local food pantry. And then they recognize that the issue is not that we don't have enough food, it's just about transportation and storage and distribution of that food. And so when you recognize that and the fact that we're in the transportation industry and the storage industry, we should be able to move this food to the people that need it. And so really Move for Hunger works through their mover network to collect as much food as possible. Well, since then it's grown, and now corporate housing companies are into it. So now when you go into corporate housing for 30, 60, 90 days, and all of a sudden you have, extra boxes of Cheerios left over or whatever, that food can be left, in a box there and collected by the corporate housing company, by the maids or whoever, comes in there and turns the unit over, and then collected and then aggregated and then delivered to the food pantry. So those are some of the ways. And me personally, some of the things that we've done, up in Detroit, we did something really cool in conjunction with Kroger, where we did a food drive at the Kroger. So we had about 7 locations, I think, and me and my family took one, and we had 7 families from my moving company, and we all kind of like manned the door at the Kroger. And I remember this: me and my wife and my 2 kids, who were little itty bitties. And one is, I'm over here at this door with one of my kids, she's over here at this door with another kid, and we have these like shopping lists. And as people walk in, sometimes with their kids, we handed it to them. It was like, hey, we're collecting food for the local food pantry, and this is a list of items that are in high demand, right? So it might be your tuna fish, it might be your peanut butter, cereal, whatever. And if you'd like to help us, we'll collect them. And we had these massive, like, watermelon bins, if you will, right? Massive, right? And so we'd hand them the sheet on the way in. And some people wouldn't use it, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people, especially the ones with kids, took that opportunity to teach their kids about giving back that day. They took the opportunity to demonstrate and model that behavior in their kids, and that to me was special because I was doing the same thing with my children, and then giving other people the opportunity to do it for their kids. It was a very enriching, kind of emotional experience, and to see them come back out with that yellow shopping list and 3 boxes of cereal, or sometimes a lot more, and put it into, and then my kids would put it in, throw it into the tub, and I think we did like 2 or 3 watermelon containers full,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
that
that's
that
so
month.
cool.
Yeah,
Especially, I love that point about reinforcing, giving back. It's, I don't have kids yet. Hopefully one day I'll be lucky enough to have them. But I can totally understand how a kid being shared a message from their parent comes across one way, but when you see it in person from strangers and, a father with his two children as well, how it's just a constant reinforcement of doing good to others.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you have kids, right? Because you try to tell them what to do all the time, and they don't do what you say. They do what you do, and for good or for better or worse, right? Like we might grow up and say, oh, my dad or my mom doesn't get it. We all have friction with our parents growing up, right? And then inevitably, whether we want to be like our parents or not, we are like them. They imprint on us, and we inevitably become like them in many ways. And so the best thing I think we can do for our kids is not to tell them what to do or give them advice, but to show them how to live, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're gonna learn from. So, yeah. I know somebody else and get in the comments. I want to hear from you, your stories out there. Please share. One other thing that I heard that I thought was super cool is that people did back when this was in COVID, when people were like, isolating and stuff like that. They would put a box on the porch in like the subdivision or something with like a list of stuff, and you could put whatever's in your pantry that you just didn't want, whatever, and just in the box, and then that family would go around and they would, with their car like the next day, and they would collect it from everybody. And it was such a good way to like bring the collection site to you, so you don't have to like lug the cans and the mac and cheese and the whatever to the football game or to the school or to the job, which is always like, oh, now I gotta lug this stuff, right? So it's like I'm bringing it to you. So I thought that was a really cool way to do it too.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so fascinating how, we had to go through a pandemic for the world to kind of understand that, we're all just people and people need help. And those people that are in a position to help, it's really not that hard to help someone out. And so I
Right.
think there's a lot of beauty that came out of the storm that was COVID. And I think everybody is more awake now and more willing to participate and change. And I don't know, Ben, if you had something that you've noticed with yourself, with society, that's been impactful in kind of the CSR giving back space.
Well, when you said COVID's changed us in some interesting ways, and some of it's kind of beautiful. Um, One of the most people ask me like the most memorable Love and Relo that I've ever done, or my favorite one, or whatever. And one of my favorite ones was actually interviewing your dad, Bill, on the show in, like, gosh, I don't know, April 2020. Um, it was super cool that he even like came on and said yes, and like 150 people watched it like live, and then thousands more like afterwards. But he said to me, he's like, when COVID hit, because he was talking to us about leading through change, leading through COVID. I mean, and we're still like in the heat of it, right? And he's like, when COVID hit, like mid March, we were supposed to have like a town hall meeting or something. And we walk in there, the executive team, we walk into the town hall, and we had like this big like deck or something with us, right? Like a presentation. And he's
And
like,
they just threw the whole thing out.
they just threw the whole thing out.
Yeah.
And they said, we're just going to sit down and talk to y'all because we don't know what's going on, and talk to us, and we're all like in this together. We're all kind of scared. We're all kind of trying to figure it out. And I just thought that was so cool. And I think that type of mentality and leadership has kind of emerged through this process, and of a vulnerable kind of leadership, a transparency, an empathy has kind of emerged over the last 4 years, I would say, where that is becoming more the norm now for leaders. So I think that's like a post-COVID change that's kind of beautiful. Is like this thing kind of stripped us down, and just showed us that we're all just people, right? And all the hierarchical, BS and the trappings of like what a leader's supposed to look like and act, and like all this like formal stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It just stripped it away and got down to like the core stuff. So I think that was kind of one of the beautiful things. And then, as far as from an ESG standpoint, I think it reshuffled everyone's priorities, right? I mean, I think a big push for like the work from home and the hybrid thing and all that is that people are reprioritizing where their family and their personal life is in their priorities. And I think we're still seeing that now. I think there's a bit of a pendulum swing back the other way now, but there's still the stickiness of that movement.
Yeah, I know one of the big challenges with remote workforce is how do we preserve the culture? And I think we find ways to do it. I heard it's interesting, if you want to get people back in the office, and you want them to like actually be there, be physically, mentally there,
Mm-hmm.
engaged, you need to offer more than just a free lunch or something. It needs to be something inspiring and meaningful to really bring that value, to create that culture that you're trying to reestablish. You can't force it. You have to be genuine about it, and show sincerity throughout the whole process.
Yeah, totally.
And another thing I'd like to add is, how you were saying everyone is more aware and kind of dropping their guard, being more vulnerable. I think it's also led to clients asking more and more questions about what are you doing in this space. And
Talk to me about that. What have you seen from a trend? Actually, before we get into that, I want to talk about trends, client demands, client inquiries around this. I do want to honor the people in the comments real quick though. First, okay, so let's just check in with those folks because they're checking in with us. Lucy saying at Relocate You, we built our own soup kitchen 2 years ago in Lahore, Pakistan. Holy smokes, delivering 2,000 meals per month and growing strong. We love Move for Hunger initiatives. Wow,
congrats, Lucy. That's amazing.
that's incredible.
Ben, you're good at this. I was trying to figure out where the comments are and everything, and it's super.
Don't worry, I'll bring them to you. You just hang back, man. You just
All
hang
right.
back. Just is it Frangies? Help me out there, okay? She says 35,000 should be our new goal. I like it. It's stretch-ish. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's a nice stretch. Let's see here. Lucy said it's the soup kitchen is fully funded by the profits of the company. Very cool. Taylor's saying there's a variety of ways to give back. We'd love to connect to share more. Very cool. People are connecting. Love it. Cliff Bierman says food drives are wonderful ways to bring awareness to the food shortage, but don't forget that financial donations are important as well. Food pantries can stretch the dollars and they don't need to store as much. It's a really good point, Cliff. I mean, food pantries can buy at such cheaper prices than we can. Yeah. Richard, it's a crazy situation with household budgets. There's a program on TV here called Rich House, Poor House. In fact, he just about to watch. It compares money spent on food, etc. The moral of the story is often the surplus income just wasted and not really bringing more to their lives, and others could really benefit. Farrell's throwing out 30K conservatively. I like it. Okay, cool. 30 to 35K. I like that. I want to go back to you, Dan. Tell us about clients. What are clients asking about sustainability?
Yeah, it seems to, it seemed like at first it was just kind of what's the flavor of the month, but now I would say we're seeing more consistency across the board and asking similar questions. And I know our RFP team has been busier than ever, and I'd say probably 1 out of every 3 RFP, there's a new sustainability, ESG related question that, I think we've set a good foundation, Graebel has, that we're prepared to answer those questions and not sitting there scrambling saying, oh my God, we've never considered that. We need to develop a policy around that or something. And so I think, if you're not working towards sustainability yet, start today. Because it's going to be, I think, more and more a deciding factor in retaining and pursuing new clients.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's that whole the best time to plant a tree is 30
10
years
years
ago.
ago.
10 years. Thank you. I don't know. Just pick a number, right? Years ago. The next best time is today, right? And yeah, we'd all like to be further along in the sustainability thing, but I mean, we got to start somewhere. We got to start now. I agree with you. I mean, not only is it the right thing to do, not only is it good for the planet and our children's future, our future, frankly, it's becoming, more imperative. But it's also good for business too.
Hmm.
People. I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason that Graebel's so upfront with their values, right? It's not only so that everyone in the company knows where y'all stand and everyone can get in line with the values in it, and if you say it and you put it out there, it attracts kind of people that you want on your team. But it also tells your clients what you stand for, and they connect with you on a different level. So it's like I think being out there, out front with kind of your values and where you stand, and making a difference in the community, I think people are buying with their. I think people are making more and more buying decisions based on those kinds of alignments than ever before. I mean, what have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, there's still the question of cost. It's like, who's going to pay for the cost of going to the more environmentally conscious choice? And you need to ask yourself to take a holistic point of it. You want your future generation to pay the cost? Or do you want the third generation from now to have to pay that cost? Or are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of margin and get creative to, be able to float that cost?
I think the real innovation tipping point is going to be when the right choice also becomes the more economical choice.
I know some moving companies for their, domestic moves, their COD stuff, they offer reusable boxes, and they call that their green move, and it's cheaper because they're not having to use new materials on that move. And so I think we're getting to that point where the green choice and the cheap choice are going to intersect.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of where we have to be, right? Because you're right. We're under constant price pressure in this business where clients always want us to do it for, a few percent less every year. It seems like, and compounded over time. I mean, that really, really starts to eat away at margin. And I think we have to find ways to truly innovate, right? It can't just be like, okay, we're going to stroke a check for carbon credits.
No.
Like, we have to find a way to truly innovate. What's one of the more innovative things that you've seen, maybe in your supply chain or something you've seen in your company?
One that I've seen that's pretty cool is, there's lots of cool things out there, but one that pops to mind right now is for like small shipments, using like e-bikes for an inner city move from apartment to apartment. I've seen e-bikes be used.
E-bikes, like electric bikes?
Yeah, electric bicycles. I don't know, one backpack at a time or something, but
This
I think
feels like something I've seen like in a meme, right? Where somebody's like bicycling down the road, they've got a whole household of furniture on their back. Is that what it's
yeah,
like? I mean,
and I don't know, maybe they have a.
like a
I'm trying
rickshaw
to pull
kind
it
of
up
thing.
here.
Yeah. I'm dying to know about this. While
So
you,
think of like an ice cream truck, like a
okay,
pedal ice cream truck that has, the big carrier of different
yeah,
ice cream flavors on the back. So it looks like it would hold about, I don't know, half a lift fan in each one of those.
sure. Which honestly, if you're moving from a furnished place, is all you need. No,
Yeah.
I actually really like this for another reason because, like, I'm just going to use Manhattan as an example, right? Of a city that's just murder to try to move in, right? You ask all the major van lines, nobody messes with Manhattan. That's why local movers just dominate in that market because they just run small trucks and they know how to navigate the scene, right? But I mean, if you go into Manhattan, you might as well just automatically quote somebody for a parking ticket. Like that, there's no parking permits. There's just tickets. You just eat
Yeah.
it. You just eat the ticket. Is what it is. Okay, you can't park a truck in Manhattan. Period. End of story. So now, but if you're talking about this bicycle situation, I can put that on the sidewalk. I can bring that up to the door of the building. Instead of having to walk a block down and a block over to get to wherever I was able to stash my truck. But I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of, I mean, I was joking about it before, but this is the type of innovation that actually is good for the environment, but also is good for the customer.
Hmm.
I love that idea. Get in the comments here. What innovation have you seen that you feel like is truly innovative and meets the sustainability kind of goals that we're talking about? Lucy's talking about we're building our fifth water pump in remote areas in Pakistan. Holy smokes. Man, access to clean water, that's another one
Yeah.
we take for granted, right?
And I want to commend Lucy there. I think it's so cool to pick a project and then continue to go back to the same project wherever it may be, and get to see results over time rather than just throwing money at one thing and then the next year you're doing something else. I don't know if Pakistan is significant to your business operations or whatnot, but I had some personal experience with doing volunteering over in South Africa, and lucky enough to go back many years in a row and got to see from where we started to where we got to, that our impact was huge. At first, I kind of struggled with, thinking, is this really just kind of creating false feelings of, doing good, seeing the work that we did at first, but having the opportunity to go back many years in a row, working with the small kids over there, got to see them grow and see that, they were excelling in school because of the labor and resources that we were able to provide.
I think you make a really good point about being consistent with something, right? Because you do something once, you're like, okay, we did a food drive or we did this, and it's like those flash in the pan activities. I mean, do them, because every journey starts with a single step. Do them. You can't get somewhere far and great without that first step. So don't not do it. But I think it's important when you think about like these strategic initiatives to plan strategies like 3-5 years, where you can be like, how do we like consistently do this? Because to your point, you're going to get better every year. I mean, that was another thing from like the Love and Relo stuff, like the fact, I mean, I've been doing this 5 years, and we didn't have lighting in year one. We didn't have, decent microphones. I've broken more good microphone back on my earbuds right now. Sorry. But, we didn't have proper mics. We didn't have, the premium subscription. My point is, like, your first time doing something is not going to be great. But if you do something over like 3, 4, 5 years, you can actually get really good at it. You can get momentum. You can build kind of community around it. You get kind of constituency going. You've got your tribe, working on this. You know what everybody's role is and everybody's job is. And I think there's a lot to be said for that and keeping up with this stuff. So when I hear Lucy say like we've done 5 of these things, I mean that's really incredible. Kudos.
And it took you 5 years to get me on the podcast?
Yeah. I mean, we wanted to do it year 4, but, honestly, we just failed to execute. So I apologize.
All good fun.
Richard's saying, here's a video covering ESG issues and food recycling at Stay Camden, probably over in the UK. They're pretty big over there. Thank you, Richard, for that. Mini Moves checking in. We use tri-wall corrugated containers. 3 laminated layers of cardboard. Our containers are made up of individual parts, so any damaged component can be readily replaced instead of tossing the whole thing. Interesting.
Great innovation.
That's cool. And are these recyclable? I mean, I imagine they are if they're corrugated. Let me know. Lucy, who's quickly becoming our ESG expert in the comments here, is winning the unofficial ESG award of this month. It says, in corporate housing, sustainable properties are usually the cheapest choices due to efficient energy performance and smart resources management. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, to have those options, you do have to make an investment to make those buildings more efficient. But the ROI, I think, works. The math works.
This is awesome. Mini Moves just breaking it down for us. Cardboard versus wood lift fans reduces the consumption of approximately 768,000 pounds of new lumber and an equal amount of landfill waste. As an illustration, a 2,300 pound shipment would require 3 lift fans at 900. We're nerding out and I love it. 960 pounds of container weight compared to Mini Moves containers at 420. Okay. So that weight, so you're saving 4 million pounds, which of course is going to also reduce fuel consumption. Wow. Hey, I like that. Is that the kind of math and the kind of stuff that how does that play well with clients? I mean, is that the kind of stuff they're looking to see?
Some are. Yeah, I know we're ready to share that sort of math. We've been um, kind of had a good framework for completing our greenhouse gas emissions and being able to show examples on, ways that we're actually making impacts. And it wasn't an easy journey, but it's been a journey I've been happy to kind of lead on after stepping into the shoes of Ben Ivory, who did a great foundation for our program. And I saw he was on earlier today. Hey, Ben. And just now I'm steering the ship right. We're still afloat, and the best is yet to come.
Very cool. How did you get this really cool opportunity to lead the sustainability efforts for Grable?
Uh, that's a great question. Feel like I was kind of always meant to be to do it. I did a stint with our supplier development team after college, and Ben Ivory was on the team, and I had expressed my interest in sustainability, and so I was on our Denver sustainability committee, and then just kind of looped in unofficially into our CSR events, and Ben was pursuing his master's in sustainability, and so it was kind of a team effort, and me just trying to be a sponge of information received from sustainability wise. And then I took a little bit of a hiatus from the company, came back and said, I want to jump into this both feet. And it's been a great journey. And I think it also stems from, my upbringing. I got to spend a lot of time outdoors, skiing and fishing and hiking. And both my grandfather and my father, avid outdoorsmen as well. And I just felt so blessed with the opportunities that I've had. And really, a guiding force for me that I've had for a while is if I'm lucky enough to have kids, I want them to be able to have the same opportunities I've had, be able to ski deep powder days in the middle of the winter and be able to catch a lot of fish in the river, not to have like one powder day every third year.
Yeah.
And every fourth time you go fishing, you might catch a fish. And so want them to have the same opportunities I've had.
Yeah, it's a great point. That's a really great point. We've got to conserve our environment if we want to be able to use it in the future. Let me ask you, talk a little bit about the different aspects of sustainability because, I mean, we automatically think of the environment, but I mean, are there other areas where you're focusing?
Yeah. I mean, sustainability really starts with financial stability, sustainability. If you're not financially sustainable, you're not going to be in business for very long, and you're not going to be able to pursue any of your sustainable goals. Thankfully, Graebel is financially sustainable, and we focus in on the three pillars ES and G. We align our sustainability program using the UN Global Compact's framework. We've identified several sustainable development goals that we've aligned our program around. And with our environmental aspect, we're committed to planting 7,000 trees a year.
Wow,
with
7,000 trees.
with one tree planted as the organization, and we chose a project in the Kaveri River Basin in India, which is where our Bengaluru office is. So, trying to
Okay,
make an impact where we have a presence.
I like it. How does one go about planting 7,000 trees?
I don't know. I'm sure they do it a little more sophisticated than the one time I did it when I was in college in my environmental science class. We went out and planted a bunch of saplings just on a hillside, and I'm sure they do it a little more sophisticated than how I did it.
Hmm.
But yeah, we just get a big clear bag with a bunch of saplings, and you dig a little hole with your hands, plop it in.
Yeah,
Um,
done.
you know,
I've been hearing about this lately. Have you heard about this planting trees with drones?
yeah, I did see something about that. How they can get into like deep wilderness areas that may
Yeah.
have been affected by wildfires.
Yeah, right? It's like, man, that's what we need to do. I mean, these wildfires are just raging out here. And I mean, up in Canada, somebody told me a stat, I think it was William Taylor, I'm gonna butcher this probably. Somebody could look this stat up actually for me here. Lucy says planting trees via drone technology is the future. I love it. Lucy, check me on this stat. But William said something like 400,000 acres had burned up in Canada, and is it 400,000 or is it's more than that? Lucy,
Probably more.
yeah, check me on that, Lucy. How many acres of have burned up in Canada this year? And it's all like this deep forest stuff, that's just, and there's just so much carbon stored in the earth there. It's really dangerous. So we talk about what happens in California all the time, and just 10x that is happening in Canada.
Hmm.
Farrell said there are a lot of organizations that will plant a tree for every certain act a company reports. Need to find out who that is. Farrell, actually, for every comment you leave, Dan will personally plant a tree with his bare hands, like environmental sciences class. So just get in here and keep dropping them. We appreciate them. Farrell says 25,932 acres burned in California last year. Drones can plant 40,000 trees per day. Shut the front
Wow.
door, Lucy. Shut the front door. There's no what? I mean, how many drones? Like
I remember seeing this
40,000 drones?
I remember seeing this thing, Ben. They created like they wrapped a sapling or a seed around some spherical looking thing. It lands on the ground, and then it slowly like twists in and like plants itself upright. And so I'm sure if you get a big enough drone, and I don't know, maybe the
They're
seed or
self-planting trees?
yeah, self-planting trees. My aunt sent it to me a while ago, and one of the wilder things I've seen.
Lucy, put in the comments. Lucy's our stats information today. We appreciate you, Lucy. Can you put a link in the comments here on LinkedIn to this video for anybody that's watching? Also, no pressure. Still waiting on that Canada um, Canada stat. Farrell, this acres burned in is this California or Canada? CA. I need to know. Lucy says yes, exactly. It's called a seed pod.
Yeah, I remember now. It was a really cool, like, wild innovation.
That's what I'm talking about. Everybody's scared of drones. It's like, well, maybe they're just gonna like reforest the planet. You know.
I see Farrell's making me work here. That's 3 comments now, and he did confirm it's California.
It's just Googled. Love it. Farrell's gonna make you plant all these trees over here. Meanwhile, some drone's gonna just out working you like 100,000
1,000
to
to
one.
1. Work smarter, not harder,
I
right?
love it, man. Do you think technology is going to be, is going to be the death of us, or is it going to save us in the end, Dan?
I mean, what, you could go the iRobot route and
Right. I don't know. Is it going to
going
be
that far.
iRobot or iTree? I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah. No, I think there's going to be a good harmony. I think it's going to be a change, but change is good, right? Um, some jobs may become redundant, new jobs emerge.
Hmm.
Um, but I think there's always going to be, a machine's never going to be able to replicate the human soul. And I think that's what makes us individuals and makes us, kind, caring people that we are.
Love it. Well said. Really well said here. Many moves coming in here talking about partnering. This is interesting, collaborating with recycle centers and junk removal companies. Very interesting. I know in my move last week, I actually called the college hunks hauling junk out. Some of the stuff was junk. Some of the stuff was like, man, we got to find a home for this stuff. I mean, it's just kids' toys that were hardly used or whatever. And they said, yeah, we're going to take it to a Goodwill center to be donated. So, what are your thoughts on that, Dan? I mean, every time we move so much junk and stuff that needs to be probably needs to just find a better home. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on the discard and donate and recycling and junk removal situation?
I mean, I love it. I think it's such a great program that is offered up to transferees. Being able to find a new home for that perfectly good item, whatever it may be. Um, and then I went down a rabbit hole a while ago, like just trying to figure out, okay, what's the carbon footprint of like shipping a mattress compared to buying a new mattress at your destination? Wildly different. The
What do you
carbon
mean? Wild? Yeah,
emissions,
give me the numbers on that. What do you mean wildly different? What'd you find?
I mean, it was like probably 10x to manufacture a new mattress that's probably um, manufactured in a different country and then has to be
Yeah,
shipped to your new
yeah.
destination. It's like you might go to the mattress store at your destination, but those mattresses got to the store from abroad. And so why not just bring your perfectly good mattress already with you if you have the allowance for it in your store, in your shipment?
This is such a good case for household goods moving because household goods moving, I feel like, has been slowly eroded lately. People just say, oh, I just want to buy new, or maybe I'm just going to, you know, sell everything and start over or whatever. And it's like, people don't want to move household goods like they used to. And I don't know if it's because our furniture is more of a temporary nature. Maybe it's not, that solid oak armoire that's been passed down from generation. Maybe it's just different, But I've noticed that people just aren't moving as much stuff. And instead, they're throwing stuff out. And I feel like we have an obligation in the relocation industry to make this case for moving as a sustainable choice. And I don't think people think of it as a sustainable choice because they think of it as, well, now you're trucking stuff around the country. So, the carbon emissions of that must be a bad thing. But to your point, manufacturing a new mattress, first of all, the materials to manufacture a new mattress being harvested,
The extraction of
then
raw materials out of the earth.
and
Yeah.
then trucking the raw materials to the manufacturing site, converting them into finished materials, converting those to a manufacturing plant, transporting that now to a distribution center, shipping it over the ocean invariably to where we are now, shipping over the land to where we are now, shipping it locally to where we are now, and then that to me, I think we need to make that case better. I think as an industry, it's upon us to make that case better.
And I think, it's cost savings too. You ship your mattress 2 or 3 times if you're doing a couple assignments back to back instead of buying a new mattress everywhere you go. And
Yeah.
you're saving the planet at the same time.
You're right. It probably costs, I'm going to guess, about $300 to ship a mattress between packaging and handling and the weight of it, etc. Maybe less, depending if you use a mattress carton or not. That's probably the biggest factor. And to buy a new mattress is going to run you, depending on the quality of the mattress. They have a lot
Depending
of these
on where
mail
you are in
orders.
the world too.
Yeah, they have a lot of these mail orders, right? But anywhere from $500 to $2,500 to buy a new mattress, probably. So, I think that's one of those situations, like we were kind of saying before, like the sustainable choice also needs to be the economical choice, and maybe it is. Maybe it is in many cases.
I think, like I said earlier, I think we're getting to that intersection.
Yeah, and I think another good point, bringing this all the way back to food, right? It is Hunger Action Month, is the preservation of the surplus of food that we already have and the reallocation of that food to the people that need it is again the sustainable choice because we know farming and agriculture has an impact to the environment,
Hmm.
right? So farming and overproducing food that does not get eaten, that gets wasted, that finds itself in a landfill is it's a tragedy on so many levels.
I was just watching one of your podcasts earlier today, prepping myself, and what was it about? It was rice.
Yes,
The cultivation of rice was
yes,
more than air travel, right?
surprisingly one of the most carbon averse kind of well, I think what he did is like top 5 worst foods for the environment or something like that. Rice was up there. You know what's up there that I think about it almost every day? Do you remember coffee? Coffee
Coffee.
is, and I don't know if it's because we drink, because some of this is like how much we consume. Like rice is probably the most consumed food in the world, probably. Coffee's probably up there. But I mean,
Hmm.
we think about it. Where's coffee grown? It's grown in South America. It's grown in Indonesia. It's grown in Africa. And then we're just guzzling it. By the 30-ounce cup over here. We're getting our ventis. Over here over coffee, and it's not from here. And then think about how much we throw out every night. I feel like I'm making new coffee. Well, I'm probably tossing out, a quarter of what I made the day, that day.
Hmm.
So, it's about making those decisions. And like I've tampered. I used to make 8 cups a day. Now I'm gonna make 6. And that's a big difference.
My wife was getting on me about that. How we always had about a cup and a half, not actual cups, but measurement
Yeah, like the
cups
line in
of
the
coffee
pot.
left. I'm like, it's just coffee. But hearing your point now, Ben, that I'm gonna take that home.
Well, think about it, right? I mean, so if how much coffee do you make every day? Like, what's your number on the pot? Like, what are you going
Between
through?
my wife and I, we do about 8 cups.
So 8 cups. That's what I do, right? Because a normal pot will hold about 12. So you feel like eight's just like kind of a good number, right? Because you never want to run out. You never want it to be like noon and you just need another cup and you don't have it because you got to make a whole nother thing. So we always make a little extra, right? So now you're doing 8, and I've been doing 8 for a long time. And I was doing 8, and I was probably throwing away 3. So I started making 6, and now I'm throwing away. I'm still throwing away 1 because I never want to be without. But I'm throwing away 1. So going from 8 to 6 is a savings of 25%. So if I do that over my lifetime, because I'm making coffee every day, I'm just have to say I've just reduced my coffee consumption by 25%. And knowing that what a bad food it is for the environment, I don't know.
Well, and
So
just think of the impact everyone watching today. They make that change in their life, share it with someone else they know. Then that leads to consumer demands changing, and then production changes. It's kind of saving the stat for the end, but incremental changes in your life, even if they feel insignificant, really truly do lead to cumulative change in action. So that one less cup of coffee going down the drain, incremental action. It's hard to
yeah.
say, but that can lead to massive changes throughout over time.
Well, and here's a pro tip for all you fun people out there. Take that extra cup and a half of coffee, throw it in the fridge in a jug, and if Friday night rolls around, boom, you're making espresso martinis for everybody.
Who
And you're just a hero. Not only are you saving the planet, but you're whipping up espresso martinis at home, saving
doesn't like
everybody like
those?
15 a crack at the bar, and having a great time. Tandra says, I have chickens. Nothing goes to waste in the Chester house. Love it, Tandra. Thank you. Hit that like button. Get in the comments. I know we're over time, Dan. This has been a lot of fun. But is there a final thought you want to share with us before we depart?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be remiss to not touch on our social and governance aspects of ESG. What's amazing about our social aspects is our DE&I initiatives. We were one of the first 10 companies to receive a ISO certificate for our DE&I efforts. We launched 2 new employee resource groups this year. PRIDE, which stands for People Respecting Individual Differences and Equality, and our WISE employee resource group, which is Women Inspiring Success and Empowerment. It's amazing work that those groups do. And then with our governance, really focused sense on data security and privacy, and governmental compliance.
Love it.
And then, to wrap up, kind of put things back into perspective, I'd really encourage everyone to participate in Move for Hunger however you can. If you're not somewhere that Move for Hunger is available, try and combat hunger scarcity in whatever means you can. I know, Ben, you have your Love and Relo fundraising page. We also have our Graebel one running right now. More details can be found in my LinkedIn post from yesterday or the day before. And also be on the lookout for Graebel's sustainability report coming at the end of the month.
Dan, I feel like you just challenged me to a fundraise off. Did
I
you
don't
just
know.
throw down the gauntlet? Did you just plug the Graebel Move for Hunger fundraising page against the Love and Relo fundraising page? I feel like you just challenged me to a fundraise off over here.
But neither of us can lose because Move for Hunger wins regardless. So
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm
not
just
about me beating you or you beating me. It's letting Move for Hunger win.
totally. But a good competition always juices the numbers. So I'm always down for that. Yes, don't forget to go to moveforhunger.org/love and donate. Or if you just like Graebel better, that's fine. You can go donate on their page, or you could donate on both pages, and really do good. So
I'll tell you what,
I
Ben.
appreciate it.
Once we finish up here, I'm going to your page. show you a little support.
Same. You know what? Send me your link and I will do the same for you. Let's get this party started. Go to moveforhunger.org/love, and I will do the same for you. Dan, this has been a lot of fun. Everybody, get on those pages and donate. Can't wait to see it. Look at Taylor says the challenge is on. There we go. I love it. Dan, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, for the opportunity. Great seeing you in.
Yeah, for sure. And stay tuned, everybody. Every Thursday this month, we are going to be talking about Hunger Action Month. We've got a game show going on this month. We've got a fundraiser going on, like a telethon style. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so stay tuned every Thursday of this month, and let's do some good out there. Thanks for Moving for Hunger. Thanks, Dan Graebel, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody.